Okay, good evening. We will call this meeting to order of the Nassau County Interim Finance Authority's Directors Meeting of March 30th, 2023. We'll call the first item to order the approval of the minutes of the Directors Meeting, February 21st, 2023. Are there any comments or issues? Otherwise, entertain a motion.
I'll move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next is a consideration of county contract for Nassau Energy LLC. Who's going to present? Martha?
So item 13123 is the operation and maintenance agreement between Nassau Energy LLC and Nassau County. Nassau Energy LLC will operate the existing facilities to continue to provide thermal energy to the existing base customers, which are Nassau Community College, the Veterans Memorial Coliseum, Long Island Children's Museum, the Cradle of Aviation, the Long Island Marriott Hotel, and NUMEC, the Nassau University Medical Center, the Correctional Center, Technical Service Buildings, and the Aquatic Center. The facilities are owned by Nassau County and NUMEC. The agreement has a term of 2 years and is valued at $29.9 million for its duration. A portion of the incurred expenses will be billed back to Nassau County, to Nassau Community College, the Marriott, and the Coliseum. Under a separate energy service agreement between NUMEC and the county, NUMEC shall pay the county or Nassau Energy LLC directly for its share of thermal energy. The energy service agreement is being presented between the hospital and the county. Is being presented later in this meeting too. Mm-hmm. The projected cost does not include capital maintenance or repairs of $35,000
mm-hmm.
or more per occurrence, they for any repairs that may arise during the term of the agreement, which are the county responsibility. The potential cost of those repairs cannot be determined but could be considerable. Any capital expense will be distributed equitably among the customers.
If I may, just to be clear, any capital expenses over $35,000 will be paid for by the county. Anything under will be paid for.
35,000?
Yes, will be paid for by the county. If any machinery or equipment breaks.
Okay, quick question, Martha. So who is Nassau Nassau Energy LLC? Obviously, it's a shell company. So what is Nassau Energy LLC? And to what extent is that entity standing behind this contract?
It's a subsidiary of NG. So we have representatives from the county here to answer any questions that I may not be able.
So is NG standing behind that contract? And
I'm not sure I understand the question. It's a subsidiary, it's a local subsidiary of NG, yes. And so there are provisions within the contract that rely on their guarantees.
Are there guarantees from the parent? That's the
yes,
question.
that's what I'm referring to, yes.
And that's explicit.
Yes.
And then in the case of the hospital's obligations, what happens in the event that the hospital fails and defaults on their obligations? Who's responsible for the payment of those?
Ultimately, the county is responsible for the operations and maintenance costs related to the entire system.
Okay, so in other words, you're going to bill the hospital to the extent the hospital can pay, you'll get it. If not, the county will absorb it.
That's correct.
Okay. Any other questions?
The county is the counterparty to the contract, not the hospital.
Yes. Yes.
There's a separate agreement that Martha's going to be presenting next between the county and the hospital. This first item is between the county and Nassau Energy Corp.
And what the idea is that they're going to implement some sort of thermal energy solution that's going to reduce costs by cooling
It provides for.
cooling air in the summer and warming it in the winter or whatever.
That will be providing the thermal energy services, operating the two facilities for the duration of this agreement.
And-
We'll also have the opportunity to submit a proposal for a longer-term energy solution for the entire facility. It would be more cost-effective.
And the county has history of having worked with these guys before?
Yes, they have.
How long?
They have been operating the facility since 1991. They previously operated it under a lease and a master energy agreement, which utilized favorable federal legislation at the time of the initial agreement to provide electricity to the local utility, and then discount thermal energy rates that the county customers enjoy.
And does it, in the cost to the county, has it taken into account the reduction of the cost to ENGIE for any investment tax credits they may get from the federal legislation?
Well, they wouldn't be getting anything under this, no, because it's just an operations maintenance agreement.
Okay.
There's no lease associated with it, so the county's operating owns the facility along with it.
So the county will own it?
Yes.
Okay. Well, county might end up getting something, they make a capital investment. Okay.
I'll move to approve.
Your second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. The next item is related to this previous item. It's a consideration of energy service agreement between Nassau Healthcare Corporation and Nassau County. Martha?
Sure. So Nassau County and NHCC are entering into this energy service agreement to continue the provision of thermal energy to NHCC. The agreement provides that NHCC shall pay the county or Nassau Energy LLC for its net share of thermal energy consumed at NHCC facilities pursuant to the O&M agreement. The agreement requires a license or use of occupancy permit from NHCC to the county and Nassau Energy LLC to facilitate the arrangements under the agreement and the O&M agreement. The projected cost for the 2-year duration of this agreement is $12,114,621. That's the value of the agreement between the county and the hospital. It's a projected cost.
Any questions?
My only question is, again, in this contract, the repairs. If it requires repairs, is the county responsible or is the hospital responsible?
It depends on whose equipment it is, and the county is the party that is in agreement with Nassau Energy, and then the county will prorate the cost and bill back its customers.
The actual cogeneration plants, one is on grounds of the medical center and the other one is? Right over here. Right over here.
I have no other questions.
Is there a motion?
I'll move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
By the way, just if I may add a quote, I've been in touch with the hospital, and they're aware that they could have a substantial liability beyond the amount that they approved in this contract. I have it in writing to them, they understand that.
Okay. Next item is consideration of issuance of general obligation bonds or bond anticipation notes by Nassau County.
So I'll be very brief, because you have the materials in front of you and you have all the projects in front of you. The county has asked us to approve approximately $130 million plus cost of issuance to raise money for certain general and sewer capital projects. We are recommending that you approve the list, but with the caveat that only projects which cost in excess of $1 million or have a useful life of 5 years or more are approved for bonding. So even though there's a list here which is approximately $130 million, a smaller amount would actually be bonded. Any questions?
Any questions?
No.
Is there a motion?
I'll move.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next item is the consideration of issuance of refunding bonds by Nassau County.
Again, I'll be brief because you have the materials in front of you. The county is requesting to refund a certain number of its outstanding bonds, approximately $120 million worth of bonds. We are requiring them to have a net present value savings of at least 5% when they do the refunding. The numbers have varied because the markets change. As of now, their savings are approximately an NPV of 10%. So there are those who question whether this should be done in this current interest rate environment, but since they do have savings, we're recommending that it be approved.
And what's the reason of doing it now versus waiting for rates to go lower in the future or not, whatever?
Well, we asked them for a sensitivity analysis, and there's no question that if rates got lower next year, they could save considerably more money. But the old adage that a bird in the hand, that they prefer to go now because no one knows what the future might bring. Steve Conkling, I don't know if you have any further comments, but I think that summarizes what you said to me.
Yeah, no, I think that's very accurate, Jeremy. You know, as we told you, we've never been in the habit of projecting rates, so we're not going to rely on rates being lower in the future. And since we're doing a new money borrowing at this time, we thought it makes sense to mine it too.
How long is this for?
Well, the refunding will go out, I don't know, is it a 20-year refunding? I mean, I have but the good thing about the refunding, I think the county was very prudent, that most of the savings from the refundings are in the 2030 period, maybe 2035, et cetera. It's certainly toward the latter end. So if you look at their debt service.
These are tax exempt, right? Not taxable.
Pardon me?
These are all tax exempt.
Yeah. The savings pattern is in the materials which are attached there as of the last run. And I don't have it memorized, but I can tell you that we were pleased that they placed the savings to a larger extent in the out years.
And Jeremy, just to clarify, there would be maybe some tax refunded, but the refunding bonds are all tax exempt.
Yep.
And the alternative would be to wait some period of time and hope that the rates go down.
If rates dropped 100 basis points, they could save considerably more money, but we don't know whether rates will drop, and some of the bonds which are refunding candidates might also drop out. But we had them do a sensitivity analysis, and there was no question that if they waited and rates dropped, they could save considerably more. If rates stayed...
What is the savings per 100 basis points?
Steve, you have that chart you gave me?
I believe it was about an extra 10 million. By waiting a year, there's about 700,000 of savings that just fall away for the passage of time. It would be about an extra 10 million roughly. I mean, now it's probably a little bit less as rates have changed, so we're up a couple million from a few days ago, so maybe 8 to 10 million.
But you guys feel strongly that that's not worth doing, and you're just better off locking these savings in now.
Yeah, I think it's the last part, locking in savings. Again, we don't try to project rates. I mean, the math is clear. Rates dropped a lot, and there would have been potential for more savings. But since we don't project rates, we want to lock in the savings now.
And then how long does this authorization good for? So we prove this, rates actually, say they were to back up and they go below the 5% PV savings, and then they just continue to wait. How long would this be good for?
Well, that's a good question. They say in here that they were going to do the issue sometime in late April. So I would say that if they waited beyond late April or early May, it would be implied that our approval was no longer valid. It's not an indefinite approval. But you can add that now, that the approval is good only if the financing or refunding is done, say, before the beginning of June, if you'd like.
Well, what would be good for you guys? What would work?
I mean, we're planning on doing when we do the new money borrowing, so we're doing it simultaneous action. So, I mean, we'd like, if market conditions change, which we can't predict, I mean, yeah, I don't want to be like 2 weeks afterwards. Last year, we had a problem in the market, we pulled we'd like a little flexibility, so probably June would be ample for us, like June
Okay,
1st.
so make it that. Yeah, I mean, rates have started to back up already, right, because of the sell-off. There's a little bit of a rally with the banking noise, and that sort of subsided, but I guess,
So we will add a resolve. I don't know if a formal amendment's required, just saying that this approval is effective until June 1st, 2023.
Yep.
Okay, I'll move.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Then I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you.